and it's normal. It's right. It's what happens when you lose a game. Everyone's looking for that trigger, that this is what it was, and this is what it was, because you really analyze it all, and that's all good. You got to do that. But I mean, usually my experience is that you can't really point. There's a lot of things that could happen. I can tell you, I can look you in the eye and say, on our kickoff return, I'd never seen it blocked better than I saw it blocked, except for one block. If we had blocked that one block, we would have scored on that kickoff return. That could have been the game. I mean, there's a lot of those points in the game, but what happens is your eyes will focus to one, and then you're not wrong. It's just those are calls in the game, and you're making them. And you're making them for what you feel are the right reasons at that time. And sometimes those things pan out to be terrific and spot on. And sometimes in the rearview mirror, they're not as spot on. And that's life. And you just got to say, you know what? We roll the way we think we need to roll, and try to do the best. If you feel like you would have done something differently, you got to note that down. And as you move forward, you change your mindset. But every game the decisions are made a lot of times by what's going on in a football game. It's not as clear cut as it's this or it's this. There's a lot to the ebb and the flow of the game, and what you think and what you see, and we felt like we had a great opportunity there, and we felt good about what we had going on, and it just didn't happen.
Last week was a physical, low scoring, field position type of game. Do you see this as a much different type of game coming up?
Probably. It's hard to say, but probably, I would say that if you're just looking at it for what it is, you always want to keep it a low-scoring game, but it might be a little different kind of game, up tempo, more offensive calls, but you obviously go into every game and you say to yourself, okay, no defense went in saying we're going to let them score a touchdown. So you know what I mean. Right. But it, you don't even know how it's going to unfold. Like in my mind, I always each week try to get set for what we think could happen, and then how you're going to react to what does happen. Because you get surprised. You just get surprised, and you got to deal with it. And you got to go with it. Injuries play roles. I mean, everything plays a role. You'd be surprised. I mean, it's kind of it can be a jigsaw puzzle a little bit at certain times. You just gotta have your things set in your mind how you want to go based on the circumstances.
McManus seemed to have better. He had, I think, one rugby-style kick punt, and then he had three maybe mainstream, if you want to call it that. He had better success with those. What's the call there? Is that something?
It's all based on us.
Does he have the choice, or is
their calls? Their calls. You're moving your launch points.
Right.
And those are our calls that we make in the course of the game. It's kind of like strategy, just how you want to go about it. And I thought we did some real good things. I mean, a block punt couldn't have been executed any better than it was. I mean, it was really something. That was really great to see. And our kickoff return team really started coming on. I mean, it's dangerous.
Oh, and Brown makes people. I don't think any first guy down never gets Matt Brown.
Right.
It seems.
Right. He's got great determination, great competitiveness. I mean, I think you can walk away from and feel that off of that field. His competitiveness and his determination is terrific. So, and he helps our. There's a lot of phases he helps our football team. So he's just got to keep doing what he's doing. I think he's doing a good job.
Steve, on 2 punt plays last week, Brown got into it a little bit with Chaz Powell. Were you okay with him against the extracurriculars after the whistle?
I'm not okay with it. I just,
I guess at least he had a kind of intensity.
I want our guys to have intensity, but I certainly don't want penalties or anything like that. And I addressed that, and I thought that the response was what it should be. I mean, it wasn't like sometimes guys get like out of control. That wasn't the case at all, I think. But you got to play smart. You got to remind guys to play smart. When you're a real competitor, sometimes it can. It escalates, and you got to learn how to make sure that it doesn't put your team at a competitive disadvantage. You got to keep your emotions in check, and obviously harder to do for guys that are highly competitive sometimes. But I thought he managed it well. I don't think it was anything out there or anything like that. I think it was two guys kind of going after each other a little bit, and I think the officials saw it the same way. That's why there was not one call one way. It was kind of offsetting, if I remember correctly, a couple times. So.
And how much stake do you put into Temple's success against the Randy Edsel team last year? Does it sort of not matter now that he's in Maryland and you're here?
No, because, I mean, you got different coordinators here. You know, over there, they got a different defensive coordinator, they got a different offensive coordinator, they got a different football team. I mean, obviously, you got a head coach that was at Connecticut, but he's got a whole different team. So his, you know, you can even see it on the video. I mean, you know, sure, there's always going to be some similarities, you know. I mean, but, you know, not so much. I mean, they got a different team. You know, they just have a different team. I mean, a different skill level team. So, I mean, I'm sure the philosophies are kind of similar. The mindsets, the overall view is kind of similar. But the nuts and bolts of first down call, second down call on both sides of the ball, I mean, no, not the same.
Getting back to Chester, now, is he just going to be the starter for this game, or is he the starter moving forward for the rest of the season?
I mean, I can't answer that. I mean, you know, I take it as it comes. You know, I mean, I can't say it. You, here at Temple, you got to perform. Your running backs got to perform. Your linebackers got to perform. You know, you got to. Everybody's got to perform, and that's the way it is. And you know, I mean, you know, we started out the year, and I thought, you know, if a guy performed, you saw him back the next week, and you know, I think until, you know, when a guy has a chance to roll, I mean, he's rolling until he can't get that job done, or he doesn't do it well on it. Then I think if you have the ability to make a change, you make a change. You know, we've all been there. Sometimes you can't make a change. You don't have the ability to make a change. So we're on the offensive line right now. We're not real deep. I don't necessarily have that ability right now. If a guy's not performing well, I can't necessarily make a change. You know, if I do, the drop-off's too significant. The next guy's really not ready. So when you have a guy that is ready and it creates a little competition, that's a good thing. So I would never want to predict down the road. You know what I mean? Let's see how this thing goes. Suffice to say, I think we have two very capable guys that have proven that they can be capable, and therein lies some positives, and therein lies, you know, if a guy's not playing as well or whatever, and then, you know, it's got to deal with it.
Penn State's first touchdown drive, one of the key plays, they call a face mask on Akeem. It seemed like he came in really late. Did you see that on the film? Like what happened?
There's you know, I can't even comment on it.
Yeah.
I'm not supposed to, and I can't comment on those things, you know, so. You know what, part of the game is what it is. You get some, you lose some, you whine about them, and, you know, and you deal with it and you move forward, because, you know, you waste too much energy and all that jazz, but, you know, it is what it is. I think, you know, the games are officiated really well, and tough. Those are all tough jobs, and so, you know, we just got to keep coaching, keep grinding, and keep getting better, and no rest for the weary, man. We got to rock and roll this week, but that's what makes it fun and exciting. Appreciate it, guys.